What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Let's Talk Movies. I'm Brad.
I'm Miguel.
And our 81st episode. This is going to be a fun one, man. We had the opportunity to see The Black Phone last night. Really enjoyed it. I thought it was actually, again, probably up there with Jurassic World Dominion. It's one of my favorite movies of the year. So on today's episode, we are going to review The Black Phone. We are going to talk spoilers. Honestly, it kind of struck me as one of those movies where you almost can't talk about
the movie without spoiling it.
Yeah, like you almost can't really like dive into it and have a discussion about it without talking about some of the spoiler things. But we're also going to talk some channel updates too. We have a couple of things that have been in the works for a little while that we're super stoked about. I mean, we had mentioned a couple weeks ago about Miguel and I kind of planning out a lot of the content for the rest of the year. And kind of some new ways that we want to bring something new to the show and to the channel. So yeah, we're going to talk some channel updates too. And if you guys have any questions, y'all know what to do with them. Throw them in the chat and let us know what you have to say, because we always want to hear that. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Miguel. Buddy, how's it hanging?
I got my popcorn beer and we're ready to rock.
I didn't do beer tonight. So I've been on this weird, it's probably for a couple of reasons. Like Julia, she hasn't been home. She's doing a training in Lexington, and there's just I've been at home a lot, and I mean I have stuff I can do, but like while I work on show stuff or while I do something, I've been on a kick of watching all the behind the scenes like featurettes and things like that of like the Halloween 4Ks and the Blu-rays and stuff like that, and I've just been like on a kick of watching that, and I've been in like a super fall mood. Like in the Hocus Pocus trailer dropped today.
Dead of summer right now.
I know, but like I'm manifesting fall like in my brain right now. So call me crazy, but I actually went. We were at Walmart the other day, and I saw apple cinnamon spice tea on the shelf, and I was like,
we gotta have it.
So
it's hot. Bitch choked
really
on
hot.
It
I just burned the crap out of my mouth. But yeah, so I don't know why. I've been in a fall mood, which I know is weird because it's not even the 4th of July yet. Like we haven't even hit like peak summer.
I know we literally have like less than 10 days till fucking 4th of July, and you're over here talking about apple spice tea. Like the fuck.
I know. But I mean, listen, it's gonna be a big fall, and that's part of the reason that we're so stoked about these channel updates too. Is a lot of this stuff is for the fall, particularly if you're a Halloween fan. And I don't just mean Halloween like Michael Myers, the shape. I mean, like if you're a fan of the holiday and the season, and it's going to be a good time. So, I this is completely unrelated, but I thought it was kind of funny, and I wanted to bring it up to you. So I saw a couple people talking about the new Kraven the Hunter movie. I know we're not even talking about Marvel right now, but that Aaron Taylor Johnson, we know he's going to play Kraven. Have you seen this thing about they're going to make him an animal lover?
No, I haven't.
Yeah. So, and keep in mind, this is a Sony produced movie. It's a Sony Marvel movie. And look at except for Spider-Man No Way Home, because let's be honest, that was really a Disney movie. Look at the track record for Sony Marvel movies. They're real hit or miss. Like they're okay, or they're terrible. You know, and I had tweeted today because I was watching these people argue and talk on Twitter about the new Craven movie, and I was like, does anybody actually think that this Craven the Hunter movie is going to be any good?
Well, it
Like,
hasn't been getting any buzz whatsoever, and that's what pretty much gets me with the fucking movie.
Well, and I mean, keep in mind, it's super early, like where it's like way early stages of production. You know what I mean?
Well,
So, I
we've
mean,
already
we're
had
not.
like behind the scenes already. We've already had set photos.
Really?
Yeah.
I got to see this.
Like there's
Craven the
pictures
Hunter introductory film.
of is his name Aaron Taylor Johnson? Yeah.
I don't think they're filming it yet, though.
I'm pretty sure they are, because it had Aaron Taylor Johnson literally like in like a white button down, with a claws necklace,
That's
dressed
fair.
up, but he's got like, oh
Well,
my god, which fucking cracks me up. I did not know this. So in the Captain American scene where Steve Rogers, gets a serum, but now he's got to catch, the Nazi spies.
yeah.
Well, when he was running like through like downtown, like just like chasing after the car, how he's like
Barefoot.
barefooted and everything.
Yeah.
Bro, I did not know there were shoes that make you look like you're barefooted.
No way.
Yeah,
No
like
way.
100%. Like you can
So
look
you're
up
telling me
set
Chris
photos.
Evans didn't do that stunt actually barefoot?
No, not whatsoever. He ran that bitch with some
Pussy.
fucking
I'm
Air
kidding.
Maxes that look like feet. I swear to God, same color tone as his skin color, whatever the fuck you do
That's
you
pretty
may.
funny.
But yeah, I saw pictures of it
That's
and I was like,
actually pretty
oh
funny.
fuck, it looks so weird too. I'm not about it.
Well,
But
you may be right. You, Dr. Loomis, you may be right. About the fact that it may be filming, because it says it releases January 13th, like next January. Like, so I mean, it would have to be filming, because I mean, post production is probably going to take a couple months at least, 2, 3, maybe 4 months. So yeah, I don't know. That's interesting, but I don't know. I'm not sold on the idea that, because I mean, look, Craven is pretty god tier Spider-Man villain. You know what I mean? Like he's a really decent villain. So I don't know, like the fact that he's an animal lover, like he's Craven the Hunter. Like the hunter part is kind of important. It's not like Steve Irwin. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So I don't know. I'm kind of, and given like this, given Sony's track record, like I'm gonna be straight up with you. I still haven't seen Morbius all the way through. I've seen little bits and pieces. Because everybody I've talked to has said Morbius is just absolute garbage sauce, like with like rotten ketchup and mustard on top.
Yeah.
That you've let bake out in this hot ass Kentucky sun for like 2 weeks. Like, so I don't know. I'm not 100% sold on it, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll have to see, bro. I'm still. This is so weird, but I am looking at Steve Rogers' feet right now, and it's fucking hilarious.
So the episode has been hijacked by Chris Evans' feet. So if anybody out there with a Chris Evans foot fetish is it, no, I'm kidding. Anyways, big week for movies and TV. We have Only Murders in the Building came back, which you haven't seen Only Murders in the Building, have you? That's that show that Steve Martin and I almost said Chris Rock and Steve Martin and Martin Short. I almost said Martin Sheen. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm mixing up everybody. That they co-wrote. Selena Gomez is in it. It's a really funny show. I haven't watched it yet, but season 2 is there. We got new episode of Miss Marvel dropping tomorrow. We also have Stranger Things Volume 2 drops Friday.
Yeah.
Sick. I'm so hype. I may be more hyped for that than anything. I'm honestly Miss Marvel and Only Murders. I'm like, I can catch up on that later. That's I need to see Stranger Things, so I'm super hyped to go going on that. Let's talk some channel updates. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. So to preface this, we've tried to. A goal that we've had from the time that we started the channel was to constantly up the game of our content. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that. Yeah.
like not just to a certain point, but like nonstop, like the entire time, just to continue. But to continue. Oh, Jay Dead, thanks, man. He says, "Hey guys, just wanted to stop by and leave a like. Going this weekend to see the Black Phone. I'll watch this after. Much love, guys. Much love to you too, buddy. It was,
Yeah, man.
dude.
Hope you enjoy it.
No spoilers. It was really good. It was really, really good. We both were pretty big fans of it. Ethan, the cast was great. The story has some twists and turns that kind of had us like, woo. Plus, we spent way too much money on food. So,
Yeah.
But you'll enjoy it. Side note, though, the theater we went to, bro, it is way too much money. Like,
Yeah, so we went to Movie Tavern because it was like the only showing that we had that was like, decently within our time frame. And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? I haven't been to Movie Tavern in a long time. Bro, I shit you not, I spent like over $40 over there. I was like, on the tickets, on the drinks, on the food, and I was like, holy shit, man.
For those of you who don't know, I think it's like this at all of Marcus theaters, but I think you can get food at all of them. So we hadn't eaten dinner, so like we got dinner and a small popcorn and a drink. But like the drink is like if you get a large drink, it's like $8.50 for like a large Coke or a Pepsi or whatever.
Yeah, you know how like
plus your food is like $14. I mean, it's just like it's kind of much.
Yeah, you know how like Cinemarks and all that stuff and movies theaters like cut their prices down just to like accommodate for like the loss of like revenue during the pandemic. I feel like Movie Tavern didn't do that whatsoever. I feel like they just Matter of fact, I think they hiked up their prices for that matter. And I was like, fuck, dude. I literally sat down and I told myself, I was like, I really want to like this movie right now. But this price I just paid kind of makes you want to hate this movie more. So, but fortunately, the movie, knocked it out of the park for me.
Yeah. Yeah, so J-Dead, see you, man. Well, J-Dead, we are going to talk some channel updates first. So if you have time, you can stick around. So going back to the channel update thing, we've tried to up our content game like consistently over the last 2 years. And I've been pleased with it. I mean, I don't want to speak for you, but I've been pleased with what we've done and the growth, especially lately.
Yeah, definitely. We've definitely grown since earlier this year, honestly. Like we've definitely like gone up linearly, I guess, if that makes sense. I graduated in 2015, nice cult stuff.
Yeah, and listen to everybody who has, we try not to weigh subscribers too much, but to everybody that's subscribed over the last couple of months, to everybody that's joined us, we really appreciate you guys. We never want to BS anybody. Like we're not gonna lie to you. We're just
two guys that love movies, and we don't ask you to pay nothing. Just if you guys want to stop by and say hi, you're more welcome to, just like Jay did.
So but yeah, so with that being said, if you missed Casey, what's going on, man? He said I love the Black Phone. We did too. We're gonna get to that in just a second. We're talking some channel updates real quick. So with that being said, if you missed Sunday night's episode, we talked Halloween Ends a lot. Like we talked a lot of Halloween Ends. And I know some people couldn't make that. I know that's a lot. I mean, that was a 2 hour and 10-15 minute show. So that's a lot to kind of sift through. Plus we talked some Marvel news first. So I'm going to split that episode up. We have Halloween. Number one here is we have Halloween Ends videos dropping like every single day this week. Like starting tomorrow night. I feel like the Joker. Starting tonight. I'm a man of my word. So we're like starting tomorrow night. We're going to drop a Halloween Ends video like almost every single day this week. And we'll put those in a playlist on the homepage of our channel. Number two, we've talked about this for a long time, and I don't think we've ever really known the right way to do it, because like with every channel, with everything, like we've kind of evolved, we've changed into like when we started, our first, like if you go back and look at our first 10-20 episodes, they're very like subject based. Like it was very like we would talk about.
It was a concept like episode. It was my idea, and I thought it was a good idea. So
it was. I mean, it was kind of your idea. and we talked one thing, but that kind of morphed, and we got to the point where it was like, we want to talk about news too, which that branched off. Everybody who's been with us a while, you'll remember this, into Let's Talk Movie News, which was around for a little while.
Wow.
And then it just kind of it just kind of morphed to the point where this show kind of became everything all in one, like an all-encompassing thing. So we retired Let's Talk Movie News, and then we wanted a way to talk horror. So that's when we started Purely and Simply Evil, because that was a way we could be like, hey, we just take deep dives into horror. That's it. Nothing else. No horror news. No, we just take deep dives into 70s and 80s and 90s horror. And that's been really successful. We've had a blast doing that. But we wanted a way to go back and take deep dives into other stuff too. Like, as you guys know, Miguel is a huge Godzilla fan. I'm a huge King Kong fan. I like, even there are other franchises and other movies that we want to take deep dives into. So while this is not a third show, this is not Let's Talk Movies, Purely and Simply Evil, and this next thing. This is just another way that, similarly to how we kind of absorbed Let's Talk Movie News into this show, and we talk kind of everything, and this show is really versatile. This is another kind of branch out and another just aspect of the versatility of Let's Talk Movies. So we give you Classics Revisited. So every once in a while, we're going to have a Classics Revisited show. And all that means is we're going to have like a watch along. It could be in the style of Purely and Simply Evil, where we just take a deep dive into something. But, more often than not, it'll probably be in a watch along style. So like a live commentary. If you've ever heard one of our commentaries before, we'll start the movie together and we'll watch together. You watch at home, we'll watch here. We can't show it on the screen, obviously, because YouTube would probably shut our channel down. Actually, they would shut our channel down because that's illegal.
Almost definitely.
Yes. But Classics Revisited is going to be our way to go back and look at those old Kong films. Look at, we talked about, even after Jurassic World Dominion after Jurassic World Dominion came out, we talked about doing the Jurassic Park, Dr. Grant, the Jurassic Park franchise. You know what I mean? Just a way to go back and dive into other stuff too, other than just horror, in a manageable way. So Classics Revisited, that's going to be a fun one, man. Do you have any, Miguel, anything you want to add about Classics Revisited?
No, but other than the fact that I'm really excited for it.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of things that a lot of people don't really realize, is that most of these movies that we see nowadays pretty much come from a lot of classics that are still out there and still very loved by a lot of consumers out there. So pretty much what I'd like to do is just revisit some of these very old classic movies that, that branched off, like, a new subset of a genre, or like created a new, like, niche, or a typical, what's it called, like a usual, like, card that they play in the movies, like in the movies nowadays. So like, and also just to see how like technology has like grown since the classics.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and we can jump around too. Like, that's the thing is, I mean, we've talked about doing on it. We'll start doing these shows next month, probably. Again, if you're just joining us, Classics Revisited. This is not a new show, just kind of another way we're branching out the main show. But we'll probably start doing this next month, where we will we'll check out we've talked about doing Peter Jackson's King Kong and Godzilla 1998, Roland Emmerich's film. So we'll probably do those first, and we'll start this next month. So sometime next month we'll have our first Classics Revisited show, and it'll be a good time, man. And like you said about the eras, it'll be fun it'll be really cool actually to jump around, like do 70s and 80s action movies, like some of the older like Stallone and Schwarzenegger stuff, and then jump and do jump and do like the Pirates of the Caribbean films, or do Jurassic Park, or do some of the Spielberg stuff. Like it'll be a fun time. It'll be another way that we can branch out. That we can talk about new stuff on the show. We can review new movies. We have Purely and Simply Evil to take deep dives into the horror realm, and then we also have this, this kind of sub show, I guess you'd call it, where we can kind of check out our classic films that we enjoy too. So that's Classics Revisited. So far we got number one, we got a Halloween Ends update coming every single day this week, or just about every single day this week. Classics Revisited is going to be our way to take deep dives into other classic films.
Revisit classics.
I know, right? And then this is one that we're really excited about too. And we actually put together a little teaser for this. We got to save the best for last. Again, part of the reason I've been in a fall mood, and I really, this is the reason why. As I take a sip of my apple cinnamon spice tea, largely this is going to be a big year for Halloween franchise fans. We have Halloween Ends. This is going to be the end of it's so hard to believe, like looking back at it, looking at the hype train for Halloween 2018, and it's hard to believe that we're already going to be at the end of this trilogy.
Yeah.
But it's cool. It's going to be a big year. We have Hocus Pocus 2. Just did a trailer reaction for that earlier today. They dropped the trailer for that. That drops September 30th. It's going to be, it's going to be a damn good time to be a fan of the Halloween season. It really will. 2022 belongs to Halloween. So with that being said, October is not only going to be a big month for movies, but it's also going to be a big month for, wait for it. Let's talk movies too. That may have been the dumbest thing I've ever said. So, without further ado, here's the teaser for a little project we've been putting together, and you'll get a little tease of a lot of the content that is coming later on. So we hope you enjoy this. Let's talk movies. Oktoberfest is coming this fall, and we're super, super stoked about it.
Hell yeah.
We're going to have a lot of good beer. Listen, we are going to drink so much fall beer.
Are we going to try like every beer that we can find that's Oktoberfest? Sure. I mean, I don't see why not.
We have to. Yeah. So you kind of got, I'm not going to go over all of that content that you saw in those two lists. Just because it's a lot of it, but there's going to be a lot. We have a lot of things coming this fall that we are super is that a word? Super excited about. J-Dad, you shouldn't have left because now I can't speak. That we're super excited about. So that was kind of a little tease of that. JT, what's going on, man? He says chef's
kisses.
I'm Italian. I got to get that in there. Sarah says, yo, that was lit. Thanks. Did it myself. So yeah, we're really excited about that, man. That's been part of the we've been hanging on to that for a little while. But
it's been in our back pocket pretty much. Yeah.
It has, and we're gonna go back. We're gonna, because we left a couple things out, like at the beginning of the Purely and Simply Evil show when we did most of the Halloween films. We left out Rob Zombie's films because we kind of talked about those on the main show, like way like long time ago, like back when we were like still getting started.
Yeah.
So we're gonna revisit the Rob Zombie films on Purely and Simply Evil. We're also going to do the producer's cut of Halloween 6, which we didn't do. We'd already did the theatrical cut. We're going to do the producer's cut. We're going to do Halloween 3. We're going to do a Hocus Pocus commentary. Maybe the ladies might even want to join us for the Hocus Pocus commentary. So it'll be a blast, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then the first one that you may have seen, that's a little project I'm working on. I am in the process. I guess you'd call it a treatment. I'm writing a treatment for what I would do if they remade Halloween.
Call it what you want. It's
10 years or
whatever. It's a fan written.
It is. It's a fan treatment. It's not really a script. But I'm gonna try and put together a really cool video that showcases that in a way that I think is gonna be really cool. Oh boy, here we are. Naked fuck Tinder. We're cheaper and fast. They're in the chat. They're spamming us. Here we go.
Yeah, son.
Gotta block that user. Naked. Goodbye. So yeah, man, that's our channel updates. Halloween Ends updates dropping every single day this week. If you were not here before, let me pull that back up. Classics Revisited. We're going to take a deep dive into other films on this show. That's going to be a really fun thing to do. And then also, Let's Talk Movies Oktoberfest, which is coming this October. And I'll let you go back and kind of take a peek at some of that content. I'll post that trailer. That little teaser trailer as a separate video later on. So there we go. There's our channel updates. That wraps up that portion of the show. Now, if you if you have not seen The Black Phone, we love you.
Please step away.
But get out. No, I'm kidding. We love you, but we are going to talk spoilers. So if you're sensitive to spoilers, you don't want to know anything about The Black Phone, there's the door.
There's the door.
So you've been warned. So Miguel, tell us, we did a quick video in the parking lot as we usually do. Miguel, give me your just initial thoughts on The Black Phone. What did you think?
I'll give what I said in the video pretty much. It was just a whirlwind of a roller coaster of emotions pretty much. It's not a scary movie by the definition that you're thinking. Like, it's not a lot of jump scares. It's not a lot of like areas that you would consider like like horror. It was more like a suspenseful thing, like a suspenseful horror, I guess. So like that's kind of how I would imagine it. And yeah, so this movie alone, Ethan Hawke, brilliant performance that I've seen right now so far with him in the recent years. I mean, I know he just did he had a little project out with Disney called Moon Knight. If you guys ever checked it out, shout out to Moon Knight.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I mean, he was absolutely phenomenal in this movie, without a doubt. He carried this movie throughout the entirety of that runtime. But that's not to say that the other cast members in this movie didn't do a good job as well. The young cast that was in this movie, brilliant as well. You end up loving like the younger cast members in this movie more than damn near any other in this movie. So yeah, a lot of great talent coming in through the woodworks, because like every single one of these young actors, I mean they're young. Like they got a long future ahead of them. They got a long bright future ahead of them. If
they got a long way to go and a short time to get there.
Yeah. If this is how if this is what they're if this is how they're acting now, oh god, man, we're in for a longer decade or a longer generation of films that are going to come out. And yeah, it's going to be a great ride, seeing them grow up and become greater actors. So yeah, that's to say with the young cast.
Yeah, they did a great job, man.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know this going in. I had no idea until I started looking after the fact. And this is kind of a cool tie-in. Let me ask you this. Do you think it had Stephen King vibes to it? Even though it's not a Stephen King thing. I kind of got, especially the scenes of Gwen, the sister, riding her bike like through the rain and things like that with the red poncho. Um, did you get
Yeah,
Stephen King vibes a little bit?
there were definitely some Easter eggs. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, there's a reason why.
Why is
There's a
that?
reason why that I didn't know until after. So, the Black Phone was actually originally a short story, and it was a collection excuse me, it was a part of a collection of short stories written by what's his name?
Stephen King.
No, Joe Hill.
Okay.
Joe Hill is Stephen King's son.
Fire.
So the original story, the original short story, was written by Stephen King's son. So I mean that explains why it's so friggin' good.
Hey, Apple doesn't fall far.
No, and
Yeah,
the apple
that
what?
I don't know. I tried to say it,
The
and
apple's
then my
the
mind literally
behind
just
of
went
the
nowhere.
far.
The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. There you go.
You said the apple doesn't fall.
I
Coral.
don't know why. I don't know
You
why
sound
that
like
was
Rick
hard for me to
Grimes.
say.
Coral.
I really don't.
um, it's okay.
But besides the fact, yeah, I mean, Stephen
Yes,
King's son. Jesus.
yeah. So I mean, obviously, Robert Cargill, Scott Derrickson, who also did Doctor Strange as well. He directed the first Doctor Strange film. He directed Sinister, Deliver Us from Evil. He directed The Exorcism of Emily Rose. Yeah, I think. Let me check. I have it pulled up here. Let me. He did. He did The Day the Earth Stood Still too, the 2008 film. So yeah, really good director. Definitely nails the trippy Doctor Strange vibes. You know what I mean? Yeah, Casey J, that's a good point too. He said I got John Wayne Gacy vibes, the killer clown thing. Yeah, it was definitely it definitely had those vibes. And
Well,
one of
no,
the
it
things
pretty much
that
set the tone for like this is obviously going to be like a serial killer kind of vibe because like I
yeah,
mean the movie is set in what
the 70s.
70s, yeah. It's
It's
set in the
that
70s.
that's what I was getting ready to say. The movie is really it's a very well done period piece. Like it really throws
Mm.
you into the 70s. Like it's got the 70s aesthetic. There were even moments where, the moments where the telekinesis stuff was happening and the little girl was dreaming. Like
It's
for example, like
telepathic.
the gas station. It's
Mhm.
what? What'd
It's
you say?
telepathic.
Whatever. Tell us something.
Telekinesis is
Um,
moving objects.
oh yeah, yeah, telepathic, whatever. I get those things mixed up. The chick's like 11. Actually, she's not like 11, but whatever. Anyways, but like the scenes where she is, the scenes where she is in her dream, and she, is and he's on the phone calls and things. We got this. They did this thing where they made it look like it was being shot on like 35 millimeter film. And
Mhm.
it was really cool. That was a really cool like 70s callback. It looked, it was really well done. The 70s aesthetic, the cars, the color grading and the lighting and the just like the overall tone of it felt very 70s. Um, you know, JT says the Black Phone was refreshing. I completely agree. It was a
Yeah.
very refreshing, and it felt nice. And listen, I'm a franchise guy. I'm an MCU lover. I love the Halloween franchise. I love horror franchises and things that are sequential. But it was kind of nice to have just a standalone. It just stands on its own. It stands on its own merits. It has a beginning and an end, and that's it.
Yeah.
And I appreciated that a lot, actually. JT also said it felt like which it did. There were a few moments. I'm telling you, the moment where she's in the yellow poncho riding her bike in the rain and she sees all of the dead kids in front of her and she falls, like that was like, oh, like yeah, like that definitely screamed it to me. And I said this to Miguel, and you can even kind of elaborate on this a little bit if you want in a minute. It almost felt like a weird cross between Home Alone, The Sixth Sense, and Room, like within an escape room.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I
I
mean?
would agree with that. Yeah. It
Um,
definitely it felt like more escape room for me during those typical scenes whenever he was like, locked in the basement. But I also got a lot of Stephen King's like reference,
Hmm. Well, and even like I didn't
Give
honestly.
me a second. Hold on.
You're good. Um, it was refreshing because it felt. I think part of the reason it was refreshing, JT, to your point, is like for me, it was different than I expected it to be. Like I expected it to be a little bit, I guess, bloodier, to be a little bit more like hardcore with the horror, like the strong gore horror aspects. And it really wasn't. I mean, we only really got one kill scene in the entire thing. That was all we got, which was Max. But poor oblivious cokehead Max, when he takes the axe and swings whatever. That it had some damn good jump scares. It really did. There
It
were
had like
some. There
two
was
though.
some. Oh, it had like probably 3 or 4 like pretty good ones that I was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I see you, But it aired more on the creepy, unsettling side of horror rather
Mm-hmm.
than the bloody like gore fest. It's chopping people's heads off and stabbing, and he's being beaten constantly. Like honestly, I kept waiting for Finn to be beaten because they all kept telling me about how he's going to beat you with the belt. He's waiting for you to play the naughty boy game. Like he's waiting for you to do all of that stuff, and so he can beat the crap out of you and he can abuse you and whatever. And it never really came. Like I kept waiting for that moment for him to screw up, and it never came.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Well,
so
he
yeah,
did screw up once,
he
and
did.
he did play
He did.
naughty boy, but you didn't really see any of that. It just went back to him sleeping in his room.
Yeah. So yeah, I completely agree. Casey says, speaking of Stephen King, Stephen King's It, check out the Barbarian trailer. It's produced by a producer from the It films. Looks creepy. Even has Bill Skarsgård in it. I have heard of it. I
Ooh.
got to check that out. I was really one of the trailers. Side note: one of the trailers that played before the Black Phone last night was, is it called Beast? The one with Idris Elba,
Yeah, it's called
the
Beast.
set in Africa. That looked really good too. It's not. I guess you'd call it thriller more than horror. But it's kind of like a grizzly or a what was that one called, Bear, about the people trapped in their like RV or whatever with the grizzly bear. Like it's basically like a demon lion, you know what I mean, like a rogue lion type deal, like a Jaws situation, but it's a lion and they're in the middle of Africa. So yeah, that looked kind of interesting too. um at one point I had leaned over to Miguel and I said, dude, Ethan Hawke is a crazy good actor. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think he really shined a lot in this movie, and he shined in a way, it's hard to explain because a lot of actors are really good at like completely letting go. Like personally, they seem very reserved and they seem very normal, but they can just completely unhinge themselves. And
Mm-hmm.
that's scary. Even you mentioned Moon Knight earlier. Ethan Hawke is almost scary. He's scarier because he's reserved. You know what I mean? He's calm. He's not like like just wild and crazy. He's just very like when he did escape, when he ran out and he got in the truck and he pulled, when he tackled Finn and he had the knife up to his throat like in somebody's yard, and he was like, when he said something like, if you move I'm going to slit your throat and then strangle you with your intestines or something. First of all I was like,
Yeah, that was him like completely unhinged right
I was
there.
like,
I gotta
oh,
say,
okay. But he was still calm. There was something that was
mm-hmm.
just very like,
He was very
I,
meticulous.
I will strangle you with your intestines, but I will also comfort you while I do it with my
Mm-hmm.
soft, soothing voice. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and he never seemed mad. Like, even when he was making him the eggs, when he brought him the food, when he was telling him about, like, he was like, I almost let you go. I guess I'll have to send you with the others. Like, he was very calm, but that was unsettling because as an audience member, you're like, when's he gonna snap? When's he gonna snap? When's he gonna snap? Like, you're sitting there waiting for him to have that moment of just like he just goes crazy.
Yeah, and there were like multiple moments where like we thought it was gonna happen because
Yes.
there was another specific moment where like his name, the name that they have him is the Grabber. They call him the Grabber.
Yes.
So with Ethan Hawke's the Grabber, he tested Finn out real quick and he was like, Nothing's working. So I might just let you go. Do you mind if I get your name? And obviously Finn, gives a fake name with kudos.
Oh
Even
yeah,
in the
yeah, yeah.
70s, these kids are smart. But but Finn gives a false name, and you immediately see like the
The
grabber or
disgust.
Ethan Hawke, like he's just so disgusted, and he throws the food down, and he's like, you could tell right there he was literally about to snap and like, fuck Finn up. But then he immediately like, closes back off, and he's like, I'm gonna have to do this another time. You're gonna have to die later. I was gonna let you go. And then just walks off. But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so
Well,
but that goes to say that he is very meticulous, because he pretty much, I'm pretty sure he had that entire interaction planned in his head. Like he knew Finn was gonna lie. He knew that if he left the door unlocked, Finn's gonna want to walk out. So it was definitely like one of those moments where it's like he has a routine. Like this is like everything you saw with the interaction between Finn and Ethan Hawke's grabber. You could tell that this is something that he's done to every single one of his victims, every single one of the kids that he's taken. Like this is the same role play, same game, pretty much the same steps that he's taken, like for every single one of the kids. And it just so happens, Finn was able to get out before, or right before, he was at the conclusion of whatever his fucking game was.
yeah. Well, and he's perfected it too. Like because this has been his ritualistic,
Yeah.
weird. Again, like he called it the naughty boy game. Like you know, like he's perfected it. Like you can tell he's worked on this with the kids in the past. That's why like when he says, Finn, you're special or you're different or something, like I think part of it is he's different because this is he the
He's thrown
grabber
off
is
his
the
game.
most he's thrown off his game when the grabber is thinking he's going to be the most confident in his game. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like like you said, leaving the door unlocked and the food and sitting there, like he like all of this is planned out. Like he knows in his head what he's doing. um do you realize we never even knew his name? We only knew him
No,
as the
nothing. We
grabber.
literally
That was
know
it.
nothing
We
about the grabber,
the
which makes him
only
even more for like frightful.
I love that. It was perfect.
Mhm.
It was perfect to not give us any detail about him. Even the plot twist with him being Max's brother and the two houses on opposite sides of the street, like a lot of that was really well done. JT said for sure, and also the storytelling was good, character development, the pacing, everything was good. I completely agree. Like the way that the story really felt like it unraveled, like a Stephen King novel or
Mhm.
like a thriller novel would. Like it was this constant unraveling of more information.
Yeah.
um and we'll talk about Finn and some of the other characters in a minute. But I really liked, like, while we're talking about the grabber, I liked that we never knew his name, we never knew anything about him other than the fact that he was the grabber and he
Mhm.
had the abracadabra van, abracadabra, the abracadabra van and the black balloons, and he kind of dressed up like a clown and stuff like that. Like we didn't know anything about him. That's what made the Max thing so like I remember the scene when the cops leave and Max is and he does his Johnny Depp blow. Not saying Johnny Depp does blow. I'm saying Johnny Depp starred in the movie Blow. Uh,
He does do blow, and that's okay.
whatever. Anyways,
Isn't
but like
every day happy hour?
when Max when Max does the blow off the coffee table and the camera just goes down into the basement, I was
We
like
both
the
looked at
two,
each other.
yeah, we looked at each other and we were like, what the hell? Like
We
what?
said, "Wait, is
Like
he
that
the
doesn't
grabber?"
make
I was
any.
confused.
I was like, there's no way. Like, is this? At first I was like, is this a split personality thing? Like, I don't know what's going on. Which I did wonder because we didn't dive into his crazy, which I really appreciated. But the mask thing, like the different versions, like the half mask or the half mask this way, or the full mask or the frown versus the smile, like was it a different personality thing depending on what mask he was wearing? Like, is the clown a different person? Like, it makes you wonder. Like, the fact that as an audience member you can ask those questions
Mhm.
makes that's how you know, like, this is really good storytelling. This is really good development of a villain because you keep asking questions all the way until the very end.
Mhm.
Um, So I thought that was really well done. At first, at the beginning of the movie, I remember I thought the dad is the freaking villain of this movie, not the grabber. When he was sitting there, like when he was sitting there whipping the little
lighting her
girl
up.
at the kitchen table, I was like, I could bend steel right now. I was like, I hope this guy dies. Like legit, I hope this character dies. But he kind of had a surprising arc, you know. I didn't
It's an
expect.
understandable arc. Granted, no, let me say this:
It's
trauma
not
is not an
acceptable.
excuse
No.
for being a terrible dad or an asshole. I will admit that. But that being said, the beginning of his personality, or his like the way his character developed in the beginning of the movie, it makes sense. It was
Yes.
like, look,
Yes.
my wife had dreams, did some fucked up shit, and killed herself. Would I become an alcoholic? Probably. It's one of the options that we have out there. So, and if I found out that my daughter was doing the same thing, yeah, I wouldn't want my daughter doing any of that, because I saw
You
what
don't
happened
want
to my
her.
wife.
It came from a place of care and love,
It
but
came it
because
came from
of
a place of fear, not a care. It was a place of fear.
fair.
He was definitely scared of what would happen to his daughter, and that's why he was so against, like, he was so against her, talking about her dreams, perpetuating the idea of her dreams, talking to the cops about her
Yeah.
dreams. Like, yeah, it was a very like it was a very like the route you're going is going to be end up the same way that your mother did. And the father really presented that the movie really presented the father to be a very like problematic father, like definitely someone that went through some shit and is not coping with it very well and is taking
Yeah.
it out on
Yeah.
his kids.
It was very. I don't know. His arc was very well done. Like I mean, he didn't completely redeem himself, but I think it kind of let you know at the end,
You could
like
tell that he was on a
he
journey.
he has a problem. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
He like I even at first, because I don't know, I didn't pick up on the drinking at first until the scene where he's beating her and she grabs the bottle of vodka and he's got the orange juice on the counter. And she says, "If you hit me again, I'll drop it." And when she drops it, like I mean, he is beating his daughter like ruthlessly up against the counter, and he's doing it like without any emotion. But the minute she drops the vodka bottle, he was like, like it was like his heart sank. You know what I mean? So it's
Hmm.
like that was at the point, and I even think I leaned over to you and I said, "He's an addict. Like he's an alcoholic. Like
Hmm.
that's the issue here. Like he's drunk."
Hmm.
Um, and I think that at the moment where Finn walks out of the house and they're sitting in the ambulance and he says, "I'm so sorry," and he like grabs them and hugs them or whatever, like I was like, okay, this was his wake up call. This was his intervention. Like
This
he's
is as much of a wake up call you can have.
I
Yeah.
know, yeah. So like, yeah, I mean, it's like the whole "you don't know what you have until it's gone." You don't know what you got till it's gone. So yeah, Kessler Garcia, what's going on, man? He says Gatlop from 2022 is Beyond the Gates, Jumanji, Stay Tuned, and That 70s Show all rolled into one. What is Gatlop?
I don't know what Gallop is.
What
Let's
is
find out what
Gatlop?
Gallop is.
Let's see.
I swear to God, if I get a fucking link.
Gatlop. What the hell? It's a movie.
Is it?
Gatlop, hell of a game. I have no idea. I've never seen this before. Like I've never even seen that this like exists so far. Okay,
Damn.
we'll have to check it out. That's in
Yeah.
it. Hey, that's a heck of a combination. It's very interesting. Castler also says where the scary things are has an it vibe to it. Cool.
Okay. So it's just it's
Cool.
just pretty much like a Jumanji, or is this Thor, like, but pretty much a horror based Jumanji. I like that. Pretty cool.
That is kind of sick. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Jumanji is a horror movie. That'd be
Jumanji as a
pretty.
horror
That'd be
movie? Yeah, that'd be pretty
yeah.
cool.
That'd be pretty scary actually.
Mm-hmm.
That could be done really terrifying. Let's talk about Finn and Gwen a little bit too, because um, kind of going back to the escape room stuff, he was very resourceful, and a lot of that was because of the black phone and the supernatural elements and the past victims. I really liked it. And again, it's the 70s. There's no social media. There's no this was a small town. I guess it was Denver. It was outside of Denver a little, like, I don't know exactly where. But like I got small town vibes. Everybody knows everybody. We kind of had the sense, even after the victims were dead and they were calling Finn on the phone, he had some kind of personal connection to every single one of them.
Mm-hmm.
The bullies had every kid, every character was connected somehow because they all went to school. You just get the idea that they all went to school with each other. They all know each other. Like it's small town America in the 70s. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that I kind of liked that aspect. And then this, like, them walking him through, the code is on the wall, and digging, you can dig through to the ground. You can try to dig under the wall. You can go when he used the back of the lid of the toilet to like try to bust through the
wall. He's going for it, guys.
the concrete, you know what I'm saying? When he tried to bust through the concrete and into the I thought he had it. When he got in the freezer, I was like, oh, he's out.
Mm-mm.
And then I was like,
nope.
oh, okay.
Freezer doors back then have locks, so I was like, yep, I knew that was gonna be like a dead end.
This movie built tension really well too, because at the part where he's like throwing himself up against the freezer doors and you hear him going cuckoo, 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 I was like, bro, the grabber's gonna hear that. He's gonna hear that. Like, Finn is finally gonna get the door open and the grabber's gonna be like, hello. Like,
naughty
or something
boy.
waiting on the other side. I know, right? Naughty boy. Like something like that. Even what was your take on Gwen and her abilities and her role? She was the MVP. She was.
Yeah,
really
I'll
was.
say this. Gwen was definitely the MVP in this fucking movie. Like, from the start of the movie, and you're introduced to her, like, it's obvious that something is definitely wrong. There's obviously some sort of like supernatural thing about her, because, or the fact that like what her abilities are relatively known right now, because obviously whenever she was asked to go to the office, she was not surprised whatsoever. She was like, yep, all right, the officers want to talk to me about my dreams, and then I'm supposed to help them with this case. So it's obvious that she is aware of like her abilities, or whatever, her telepathic abilities. Like, so she's fully aware of that. She knows her dad is not happy with that whatsoever. So she kind of keeps it under the wraps now.
Yeah.
But I would say that like her as a character, there wasn't necessarily like any type of like change in her character throughout the movie. It was just she became more open with her abilities, pretty much. She was like willing to be more open with like what she can do with, like, welcoming her powers, pretty much.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool, because we don't know where it came from. Like, we know it came from her mother, but we don't know what exactly this is.
Right.
And she just chalked it up to just God and his almighty power. So I thought that was really interesting, to the fact that there's no explanation for it, but you're given rational thoughts of like, well, if we don't know what it is, obviously it's God or Jesus or something like that. So like, that was pretty cool for how they displayed her abilities throughout the movie. And then obviously her as a character is like, she's the big sister, or like the sister that you've always wanted, like protective, badass, funny as fuck, sister. And yeah, she's just there to protect. She's just a protector for you. So she's like the best sister you ever had. Like, she protected Finn from a lot of situations. She's taken so much beatings from her dad, so that Finn wouldn't get any of it. So like, yeah, she's definitely someone that very, very strong character. Someone that's a natural born protector in regards to her personality. So
she's a natural born killer. She was cool, man. I
yeah,
like, and even I'm not gonna lie, her bargaining with Jesus was like the funniest thing. Which
her conversation with Jesus were fucking hilarious.
She'd get like she'd get her Bible out, and she'd get the cross, and she'd get everything like laid out, and she'd be like, Jesus, what the hell? And I was like, what? I was like, what? Like, what is
Yeah,
happening
we
here?
were thrown off by that. Yeah, we were like, oh
It was
goddamn,
funny.
okay.
But even like she, in a way, Finn seemed very. There was the moment, where, excuse me, there was the moment where Finn did break down when he couldn't get out through the when he already tried to dig. He went after the toilet thing, the back of the toilet, when he tried to break through
Mm-hmm.
the wall and he couldn't get through the freezer, and he did finally kind of break down. That was really the first time that we saw him show any emotion since he had been kidnapped. Like, Finn was very, for the majority of the movie, he was very dead set on escaping. Like, that was his
Mm-hmm.
one. He was just like, I'm not gonna die here. I'm gonna keep trying, even if I do die, I'm gonna die trying. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
liked that about his character. Gwen, what was her name? Gwen. She struggled a little bit more. Like, she kind of had this back and forth, especially with her dad. I think the moment once she sat down with her dad and was like, please don't be mad, but I think I can help him. Like, I think I can help people who are being taken by the grabber, and he, like, once he started driving her around town, which I was like, okay, dad, all right, I see you. Like, you're making a comeback. Like, she kind of had a little bit of a back and forth, like, she was like, this is working, it's going to work. And then there'd be a setback. And that's when we got a Jesus, what the hell? Like, then she would kind of be knocked back down, but then she'd be like, wait a minute. And she'd have another dream. And it was kind of this back and forth with Gwen that I really appreciated in her character. Like, the ups and down of it. And then finally, when she saw the house, when she wrecked when we, like, as we kind of talked about in the chat, that Stephen King It moment where it was like, she wrecked, she was wearing the yellow poncho and it was raining, and she turned and saw the house, and it was like, oh, that was when it all clicked. And it was like, okay, that's it. Like, that was the coolest part of her arc, because she realized, like, holy crap, this is like, I was right this whole time, like, through all
She's
the
like,
ups and
thank
the
you,
downs.
Jesus.
I know, right? That, like, she was right. So that was really, really cool. I really liked her characters. Even the smaller characters, like the detectives, like, they didn't have a huge role. The friends didn't have a huge role, but they still found a way to make them all impactful. It was really, really well done storytelling. Definitely one of my favorite movies of the year so far. I mean, I don't know what it is, man. I have enjoyed. And the Marvel, like, listen, I mean, I know we're really on a Halloween kick right now, like, with the Halloween end stuff, because of, like, we're getting closer and closer to it. But, like, I mean, Marvel is our main deal, and, like, I have enjoyed the last two movies we have gone and watched more than Multiverse of Madness. I really
Yeah,
have. Like, I've
because
enjoyed
it's
the experience.
refreshing, dude.
I enjoyed the experience of watching Jurassic World Dominion and The Black Phone, I think, more than I enjoyed the experience of watching Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. It's very strange.
And that's not to say Multiverse of Madness is bad at all
No, it was amazing.
or is worse, but I don't know. It's something about, like, well, I would say Jurassic World Dominion probably like touched like
A
a
nostalgic.
nostalgia,
Yeah.
yeah,
That kind of
nostalgic
pulled
feel
at the
right there.
heartstrings a little bit.
Mhm. And then Black Phone, like JT said, it's just a refreshing horror movie. It was just something very new in regards to what we're typical to seeing, whether it's like a franchise or something that's like really wacky or out of this world. So, like, it was definitely one of those movies where I was like, oh shit, this is something new. This is something like that we haven't seen in a while. Even though it's like, a short story by Stephen King's son, like, it's something refreshing that we haven't seen in a while. So I thought it was something that it reminded me of like how excited how it reminded me of how much I enjoyed Malignant, because that movie as well
Hmm.
felt so refreshing to me, because it was just like not your typical like horror ghost ish horror ghost vibes of the typical like Paranormal Activity and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was definitely refreshing. I would agree with JT wholeheartedly. I will say though, throughout the entirety of the movie, I did enjoy like Finn and what was it? What was the girl's name?
Oh, I don't know. What was her name?
We
Let me
were
look
literally
at
just
the.
saying that.
Oh, do you mean the girl he liked, or the sister?
The sister.
Oh, Gwen. Gwen.
Okay, yeah, Gwen. The relationship between Gwen and Finn was obviously like one of a strong bond, and that was something that was definitely like very
It
prominent through
was
this movie.
it was the heart of the
So
movie.
like the two, yeah, that's pretty much the heart of the movie, and the relationship that they had between one another was definitely something like both of them are pretty much like picking back off the strength of one another, even though they were not around. I'm pretty sure like the presence of them were still like there and strong. Like the search for
Yeah.
Finn and the drive for Finn to escape, like
Yep.
both were so strong in the movie that you could definitely tell that both of them were pretty much like looking up for one another and and like really like thinking about each other just as even more of a drive to you know, crack the case or find Finn or even break out for Finn.
Yep.
So I will say also one thing that I thought that was really cool in this movie was the conversation Finn had with almost all of his victims, all of the grabber's victims. The way that they presented like the phone call with Finn, but also like presenting the victims, the ghosts of the victims, like in the same room but also not
Oh,
really
yeah,
being in
yeah,
contact
yeah.
with them. You know what I
Right.
mean? So, like, the
Well,
kids would walk around and, like, you know, talk and all that stuff, but Finn couldn't see them, obviously.
they
Finn could
weren't
only
even
hear
facing
them.
each other a lot of times, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. So
they'd be in like, Finn would be in the, the foreground, they would just kinda be, in the background, like, kind of faded out. Um, there was a really good there was a pretty good jump scare moment where the girl was, like, spinning and her throat was sliced and she was, like, spinning around or whatever, that one was pretty good. Um
yeah, that was the one that I thought I was like, "Oh, shit, that's a pretty good jump scare." Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I don't know, man. I think to JT's point before as we kind of wrap up here, like I think for me it felt refreshing because it didn't have to do anything crazy. It didn't have to rely on crazy gore. It didn't have to do some crazy, as they like to call it, elevated horror. Like it didn't have to do some big elevated crazy mind game thing. It was just it had supernatural elements. It had elements that made it unique and different, but it was just from beginning to end it was just a well-told story. And
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. Honestly, I think it's going to be an 8.6 for me. I really enjoyed it. I'll definitely be picking this one up on Blu-ray once it drops.
Yeah, this movie would definitely be one that will be a case study for a lot of, like, horror, for
Naked
a lot of,
Tinder's
like
back.
for a lot my bad. Sorry, my computer's old. It's high school old, so no, I'm kidding.
So you're the
Nevertheless,
reason behind Naked Tinder spamming the chat all the time. Got it.
absolutely not.
Son of I'm kidding.
But, you know, moving forward to the wrapping up what I think about the movie. Yeah, I think this movie definitely would be like a case study for a lot of like other movie podcasters to talk about. Like even like horror podcasts, like this is definitely one movie that will be talked about for a while, or it will still be set in the back of a lot of people's minds.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would definitely recommend this movie to like almost everyone. My brother even asked me the other day. He was like, "Hey, so I was gonna go watch the Black Phone. Like, what do you think?" I was like, honestly, man, like it's a pretty damn good movie. Like, I'll be honest. Like, in
Yeah.
regards to like horrors that we have in the past quote unquote decade, I'd say, because we're in 2022, so like so yeah, in the past decade, this is definitely like one of the more stronger horror movies out there so far.
I agree.
And yeah, I'd put this in the top of my list so far. So if I had to give it a rating, I'd probably say like a high 8, so like probably like 8.8 or something like that. Just because of there are a lot of things that I wanted said in the movie but wasn't. So like obviously the psyche of Ethan Hawke's the grabber, or like the history behind him. Like I'd like to see more of that, or even like more detective work of like figuring out who this grabber is and not just relying on the superpowers of Gwen. Granted, the powers of Gwen was pretty cool and it would
Yeah.
have been a great help during the entirety of the movie, but I feel like the only reason why they found um the grabber and Finn was because of Gwen. So I thought that kind of cheapened out the whole like idea of like the cops and all that stuff. It didn't seem like the cops really needed to even be there for that matter. So like it felt like they didn't
I think
really
they
need to
needed
be
to
in the
be
movie
there.
for that matter.
I
I
think
mean,
they
if you think
needed
about it, it could have
in
just
the
been
end they
like two.
needed to.
it could have just been two random cops, or just like just the cops in general, just like oh shit, there's Finn or something like that.
Yeah.
So it would have been much cooler. It would have been way more like interesting to delve into the minds of the grabber's brother, seeing how he is puzzling everything together instead of just snorting a line of coke and is like, it makes sense. Like I was like, what? I was like, what?
Yeah, that was
What
a little
pissed me off
strange.
the most, yeah, like the realization of the grabber's brother, and like realizing like, oh shit, my brother's the grabber. So like I was like, all you needed was a line of coke and just to stare at the fucking basement. You're like, hmm. Not all the other fucking clues that might, like the fucking mask sitting in the fucking kitchen, like shirts unbuttoned with a belt, like just staring at
Yeah.
the fucking garage door. Like there
Well,
were so many like things I saw, like I like noticed in the movie where I was like, that's a red flag, bro. Like I know you're not coked up all the
I
time,
I I
so
agree,
you
but
could have you could have noticed that.
I think I think you just chalk it up to like he's high, he's kind of an idiot, a dunce. He doesn't realize it. But
But
yeah, it,
again,
it, it
like
was good.
if you would have made like the grabber such like a uh methodical like kind of guy, like like very like smart and like devious kind of guy, it would have been cool to have the brother kind of the same way, but also like doing it for like the good, like have like a yin and yang, like good foil between one another, instead of just having him being like a bumbling idiot. Like it would
Yeah,
have been cool to see like the brother like slowly puzzle things together while also Gwen is still trying to like figure out as well. Like have like the brother like interact with Gwen and be like, hey, I'm trying to figure out what else is going on. Like, do you have any idea? Like, what? Like, I heard stories about like how you're talking to the cops. Do you know anything? Blah 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 blah. Like pursue the hunt for Ethan, but also coming to like following red herrings and all that stuff. Like, I kind of would have liked the whole like mystery crime, like solving who it was, and then the big twist of like, oh, it's actually my brother. Like that would have also been like an interesting part. So like I feel like that was definitely like a missed opportunity right there. But then again, I'm not the fucking writer or director. I just thought that would have been a cool thing to notice.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
I
So
agree, man.
8.8 for me. It's an 8.8 for me because there's a lot of things in the movie where I was like, I feel like they could have fleshed that out or like did something different to like enhance the story, because obviously this is coming from like a short story. So
I don't know.
you have the backbone of the movie, but they could have took some liberties in regards to that.
I don't know. I thought it played out pretty well. It felt like a satisfying ending, which is something that a lot of times horror movie, like if you think Texas Chainsaw Massacre, if you think Halloween, like I mean, like the villain doesn't win, but they don't necessarily lose. They
Get
don't always
away.
die. They don't.
Yeah.
It's not always good. Doesn't always prevail. Like, but this felt like
Mhm.
a good, satisfying. I'm happy with that. Like I walked out of the theater, like you know what? I'm happy with how that ended. I mean, it. So
Yeah,
it.
I would agree with that.
It's
There
it's
was there was like a suspenseful moment in my eyes after the grabber was, after Finn broke the grabber's neck and he was like walking up to you, like, he was a slow walk, all like, heroic, like just about to unlock the door. I was fully expecting like the grabber or someone
I know,
else like
right?
to grab him.
I
And I was
know.
like, oh fuck,
I
here we
was
go.
too.
So
I was
yeah,
too.
so it really set the suspenseful nature in that movie for sure, like at
Yeah.
that moment. So
Yeah, it's between an 8.5 and a 9 for me, somewhere in there. Definitely really enjoyed it, guys. Let us know what you thought of the Black Phone in the comments below. We want to hear what you have to say. If you missed our channel updates earlier, we have Halloween Ends videos dropping almost every single day for the rest of this week. Just in case anybody missed Sunday night stream where we talked about Halloween Ends in great detail, kind of our thoughts on a few different things. So those will drop throughout the week, and we'll put a playlist on the homepage of the channel. This has been episode number 81, our review of Blumhouse and Universal's The Black Phone. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. We are also going to be doing Classics Revisited on the main show, where we're going to take deep dives into classics, as the name kind of hints at. We're going to revisit classics. Whoa. So that'll be a real fun time. And then we have Let's Talk Movies Oktoberfest. I played the trailer for that earlier. And I will be sure to post that in a separate video as well, so that you guys can check that out. Let us know what you thought of the Black Phone in the comments below. New episodes of Let's Talk Movies and Purely and Simply Evil premiere every single Tuesday and Saturday at 8 p.m. and 10 a.m. Eastern. We are on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at We Talk the Movies. You guys are awesome. Have an awesome rest of your week, and we will see you soon. Bye, guys. See you.
Very soon. See you.